Hey everyone, welcome back to another vlog. I'm about to try a DIY and to be quite honest, I have zero clue what I'm doing and this is probably going to be one of the biggest projects I've tried. If you're looking to do something similar, probably don't use this one as a guide because I'm sure as I go along I'm going to find things that I've done wrong and have to fix them. We recently went away on a little caravan holiday and the kids loved sharing a bedroom. And I've been thinking about getting Hudson a bunk bed for a little bit. Like, he's got the perfect space in his room. His room's quite small, but I just think a bunk bed would look so cool against one of his walls. But I really wanted to do like a built-in bunk bed, but they're very expensive. But David's mum and dad were trying to get rid of this bunk bed that they had in their house, and I'm gonna try my best to make that bunk bed a built-in bunk bed. I don't know if it's gonna work. It might be an absolute waste of time, but I really want to try and make this very like standard bunk bed into something really cool. I measured up yesterday and the bunk bed fits in perfectly in the space with like 10 centimeters either side of the bunk bed, so I feel like I'm not gonna have to do too much to make it feel like it's built in. I might be regretting saying that, but I've got some ideas. I've been watching some YouTube videos and I'm just gonna give it my best shot, and if it doesn't work I'll just undo it all and have a normal bunk bed. So I'll show you Hudson's room at the moment and then I'll start building the bunk bed just to show you like the basic frame and then show you my sort of ideas. You also might remember that it wasn't that long ago that I got this cot in Hudson's room, and I love this cot. It is so pretty, and if we could keep it forever, I 100% would, but he's desperate for a big boy bed and this one isn't a full single, so we were gonna change it anyway, sadly, but I love this cot and I don't want to see it go, but hopefully what I replace it with is going to be just as nice. So this is the space that I'm going to put the bunk bed in. This is his really nice cot. It was a like small cot, it goes to like here, but then it extends out. So we've extended it as far as it goes now, and he just is ready for a full single, I think.
I spend most of my time viewing what I want from the outside.
Okay, the cot's down. I'm sweating because it's very hot in here. And I've just started bringing up the first bits of the bunk bed. So I'm going to start building the frame, and then once I've got the frame up I can take the measurements and kind of see what I can do with the space. I pretty much measured everything up roughly yesterday, but it'll be a lot easier to check that I've got everything right and measured correctly once the bunk bed is actually up. So I'll start doing that now and go to B&Q and kind of figure out what the next steps are. It's kind of fun though. I'm a little bit nervous, but I think it's going to look good. This is how it's fitting in the space, which is pretty nice. What I probably will do is take the skirting board off around the bunk bed, because I really want to make this look built in. So I'll probably end up boarding here all the way up, and then the same on this side all the way up, and then doing something with these sides so that it looks like it's part of the wall. I'm not 100% sure yet, but I've just realised that I can take off these panels. I'll keep this bottom one in, but I think these are going to get in my way when it comes to doing like the side panels. Maybe I take this one too, I'm not sure. I'm going to take these top two off, and I'm going to take these off, and I'm probably going to take these off too. I think if I go any further with the building process, they're going to be really hard to get off. So I'm going to do those now. just getting way too hot in here. I'm about to put these like bed slats on, and there's tons of screws, so I've got the drill with the little screwdriver attachment, which should save me tons of time, hopefully.
Staring back at me in the mirror at night, stuck in place, just waiting for a green.
The base of the bed frame is built. I've measured these gaps here, and now let me tell you what the plan is. I don't know if you could tell a minute ago, but the bunk bed is quite low down and the ceilings are quite high. So what I want to do is raise this bed up to just kind of close the gap between the ceiling and the top of the bunk bed. I also want to put some underbed storage, which I bought from IKEA, and what I think I'm going to do is do a 10 centimeter platform underneath the bed by using timber and then maybe some chipboard. So I'll do like a timber frame and then put chipboard over it, and then I'll put the storage on top of that and then kind of like block it all in. Don't know if that makes any sense whatsoever, but that's the rough idea. I'm not going to get the side panels or anything yet. I think the first thing I'm going to do is go to B&Q and kind of just get the stuff for the base, because then if I can do the base and raise the bed up a little bit and get the storage in, then I can figure out if it's going to work or not. But let me put some inspiration pictures on the screen of the type of thing that I want to do with this space. I don't think it's going to be too tricky because there's not that much to box in, like we're talking 10 centimeters each side. The only thing I'm not sure about is the back. I'm not sure how to box in the back, but I think that will kind of come together, or I'll figure out a way to do it once I start going. But the main thing to do first is the base. But I also need to find a tool to cut off the skirting board. I'm going to ask someone what tool I can use for that. It's about 1 o'clock, so I'm hoping I can get some of this done before Daisy's swimming lesson at 4:30, but I don't think, it's definitely not going to be done today. Like, it's not going to be finished today, but I can make some progress. Can you see what I mean? The space between the ceiling and the bunk bed is just massive, so I definitely need to raise it up. I'm just not sure how much by. It's a few hours later because I had to take Daisy to her swimming lesson, but B&Q was successful. I have had ridiculous luck today. I got these pine panels, I don't know what they're called. I got those from B&Q and I went over to the cutting machine because I needed to get them cut, and the guy on the machine was like, we can't cut those here. So then I was like, oh crap, I'm gonna have to bring them home and try and use a handsaw to cut them. And then I realised I wouldn't be able to get them in the car because they're way too long. And a really nice man in the queue said, I've got a saw in the van, like an electric saw. After I've done these cuts, I'll cut those for you in the car park. So he helped me cut all these bits of wood. He cut all these bits for me in the B&Q car park. And then as we were chatting, I said that I wanted to take the skirting board off the wall, and I didn't know what tool I needed to do it. And he was like explaining a few things and saying that it's quite tricky to do unless you have this particular tool. And I was like, oh, maybe I won't take them off. And then he drove off, and then he came back like 5 minutes later, and he was like, do you know what? You can borrow the tool, I've got it in my van. As long as you drop it back to me on Saturday, I don't mind you having it. So not only did he cut this wood for me, he has lent a complete stranger this tool just so I can get the skirting board off the wall. Like, how kind. He doesn't know me, he doesn't know if I'm gonna just run off with this tool that he's given me, but I have promised that I'm gonna drop it back at 7:30 in the morning on Saturday, and it's meant that I can get this, what is it called? Skirting board off the wall. This is the tool. Okay, it's the following day. I've just managed to get the first bit of skirting board off. Skirting board is off. I need to get rid of this pin somehow, but Not sure how to do that, yeah. Skirting board's off, and then the beam's going to be here like this, and then I need to take this, a bit of this off, and a bit of that off, so that's next on the plan, but I just need to measure how far along I need to cut it. So I'm going to measure this bed frame, just to double check, and make sure that I don't cut too far or too small. All the skirting boards are up now, well, the ones that I need to be up. And now I'm starting to make this frame that you can kind of see behind me. So what it's going to be is like a rectangle frame, and then I'm going to put a big board over the top of it, and then the bunk bed and the storage can sit on top of that. The only thing is that this one bit of wood here is about ½ centimetre too long, and it's not wedging in this gap like I need it to. So these are all sitting nicely together, but then this one here just isn't wedging in. I've tried forcing it, but it's just not gonna go. So I'm gonna just try and like skim this tiny bit off just so that it can like wedge in there. And then this big board here will sit on top of this frame. I don't know how I always do this, but I've got the measurements wrong. I kind of knew that would happen because I always measure something wrong. Like even if I measure like 5 times, somehow I seem to get it wrong. I don't know how this has happened, but the beams are 4 centimetres too long. Oh, there must have been a reason, but I can't figure it out, and it doesn't matter now anyway. So I'm using this tool again to cut off 4 centimetres. I've just done this one and it fits in nicely, so I just need to do this one now. These are just going to be like support beams so that it's the weight can be distributed a little bit better, but I managed to get this one in fine. Kind of just put it in at an angle and then hammered it into place, and it's actually made the base really secure. So I'm going to get this beam in, and then I'm going to screw it together, and then I'll get this board on top. And I mean, I've just measured that board and I've measured that wrong too, so that's going to need some cutting as well. The frame for the base is made. All of these have been screwed together, and now I'm going to put this big board on the top and see how much I need to cut off. I'm really not bothered about getting a dead straight line, because what I'm going to do is once I've cut this off, I'll flip this over so that the dodgy line is at the back, and then this nice cut straight line will be nice and flush at the front. So I'm basically just cutting, just trying to get this off, and then I'll flip it over so it looks a lot smarter, but I figured it really doesn't matter. And I just can't be bothered to like measure it up and get it perfect when it doesn't need to be. I am tired out, but this board is now cut. I flipped it so the dodgy side is at the back, and the side at the front has that perfect cut that they did at B&Q. So as you can see, a nice straight edge and a not so nice edge, but you would never even know. So now what I'm going to go and do is get some nails and just nail this down to make it secure the whole way around. So I'll just fix it into place, and then I'm going to try and I was about to say I'm going to try and lift this bunk bed onto the platform, but it's heavy, so maybe I won't. So these are the under bed storage drawers that I got. They look really nice quality actually. It's a really nice wood. So they're going to go underneath here. Oh, I forgot to tell you that I managed to lift the bed up onto the platform, and it looks good. It's brought it up that little bit so the gap's not as big. I know it still looks like quite a big gap, and for a minute I thought, was that just the most pointless thing ever in the world? But then I realised no, it wasn't, because the underbed storage will sit on here rather than sitting on the floor, so it will give it more of that built-in look, because if the drawers were on the floor pulling out, I don't think it would look as realistic, whereas if there's a little bit of material underneath them, I think it will look much, much smarter. I'm going to build these 2 drawers, and then we'll see what it looks like underneath. I'll just about to go to B&Q to grab some wood for the ladder and like the bar up at the top. On the picture that I'm taking inspiration from, the ladder is like this really nice pine colour, and eventually I'm going to paint this whole bed frame the same colour as the wall. So I think the pine will look really nice against that green. So I wanted to go and get some pine from B&Q to make the ladder, and then I just realised I've got all this wood left over from the bunk bed, and I should probably try and use this, since if I sand this it will probably come up quite a nice colour anyway. So I'm gonna give it my best go and try and make a ladder out of what I've got. There was already a ladder for this, but the sizings don't work now that I've added these drawers. So I'm just gonna try and make a ladder out of this, and then if it looks good I can just sand it all later, because I'm not going to paint this yet. So I've got these two long strips here, and then these bars were on the original ladder, so these are perfect. I'll use these, and then I just need to cut these long ones to length and figure out whereabouts these are going to sit. So probably first of all I should measure up the long strips for up here and then cut them, and then I'll attach these in the right position. I've just built this ladder out of the bits of wood from the previous bunk bed. Well, this bunk bed, but you know what I mean. And I think it looks good. I'm wondering whether I should add one more bar here. I can't figure out if that gap is too big, but I'll get Daisy to come up in a second and test it, and then I'll know for good. And then the last thing I'm going to do is add a long one along here, so that Daisy doesn't roll out of bed, because she's desperate to stay in here tonight, but she would definitely roll out. So I'm going to add the bar there, which I'll probably use this big long one. I think this long one originally went all the way across along the back, but what I'll do is probably I'm kind of wishing this was, I'll lay that across here, and then eventually I'll add some little bars along here too, but I'm just looking at that thinking that this might be a bit too high actually, so I might cut this down a little bit. Okay, ladder is built and the little bar across the front has been fixed on. I did end up cutting this lower just so that it didn't look so chunky and high. My plan is, I can't remember if I said this already, that I'm going to sand this bar and then the ladder bars, and then the rest of this will be painted this green. So this ladder and this bar will kind of stand out and have like a natural wood effect. But I think I'm going to stop for the day because it's 6 o'clock and the kids need to go to bed, and Daisy is desperate to sleep in here tonight with Hudson's, so I'm going to get the single mattress down from the loft. Actually, I'm going to ask David to do that because my arm muscles are actually killing. Even holding this camera is like sore because my muscles are just so sore from lifting everything today. I'm so glad with how it's gone. I love the shelves underneath there. I think it makes such a difference, and it really it's starting to make it look more built in, which is really cool. Obviously I still have a long way to go. I need to do like the whole of the like the boxing in stage, but I think I might do that in a second vlog, so this can be like part 1, and then the frame, building the surround and stuff, can be part 2, because I don't know when I'm going to be able to get to that part, so I figured I'll pop this one up first, and then hopefully next week or something I'll be able to get the MDF to go around. But yeah, I'm really happy with how it's gone. I cannot hold this camera anymore, it's hurting, my muscles hurt so bad. But thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoy seeing the process of this type of thing. I have really enjoyed this one. Like, I know it's not finished yet, but sometimes I start a project and I'm like, why am I doing this? I hate this. But with this, it's really fun, and I feel like it's coming along really nicely. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in part 2, hopefully really soon. Bye.